Hey, welcome back. COC, Children of Change, STV, Stop the Violence. Welcome back. This is our episode of Stop the Violence today. The story that we decided today to step away from the negative, step away from all the bad that's taking place in the world. Marcus found something that's heartwarming. It's going to make you feel good, make you smile, and know someone out there does something good.
On this episode of Stop the Violence, we're going to talk a little bit not just on the negativity that's been happening in the community, but also those that are out there that are also doing good and trying to support one another in the community. One of those individuals comes by the name of Jacob Thompson. Mr. Jacob Thompson is a South Florida resident up in Boynton Beach area. Not too long ago, back in December, while outside, out and about, he noticed somebody out in the Boynton Beach Inlet. For those that are unaware, the Boynton Beach Inlet or canal area is one of the most dangerous inlets or canals down in South Florida. It's most dangerous because of its current. Its current is the most aggressive and it's the most fast moving down here, which it can grab unsuspecting victims. While one day out and about, Mr. Jacob noticed a body in the water floating. He didn't know if they were alive, dead, or whatever, but he sprung into action. Took off his shirt, jumped right in the inlet, and went in, saved this young lady from possibly drowning or a worse fate. There were a couple of bystanders asking what he was doing, jumping in the water, that wasn't safe, all this and stuff, but he didn't care. He jumped in, was able to latch around the lady and was able to swim over to the shore and lift her up. There were other bystanders that saw and was able to help him pull up the lady and pull him back up eventually. But it was that quick thinking out there. Instead of just thinking about himself or focusing on the regular day, he was aware of what was going on in his community, aware of what was going on around him, and saw somebody was possibly in danger and jumped into action.
Nice.
A couple of the bystanders out there were watching. One of the bystanders just so happened to be another individual that had lost their child to an unfortunate drowning accident. Because of this drowning accident, this Good Samaritan by the name of Sarah Perry, she created a Good Samaritan Scholarship Fund, which aimed to help students or any individual that assists others in a heroic feat.
Wow.
It just so happened that on the same day in the same area that she witnessed Jacob's heroic action. She made note of it and was able to assist him later on. Jacob at the time was saying that he didn't really care about what was going to happen, rewards or not. He just saw somebody that looked like in trouble and sprung into action. This happened back in December, and recently the Boynton Beach Fire Department called Jacob back and eventually surprised him with a scholarship because of his daring feats. Later on, the Carnegie Hero Fund, gave him a medal as well as gave him another scholarship because of his heroic deeds. The Carnegie Fund, for those that are unaware, is an organization that's an organization that gives out and recognizes individuals that perform heroic feats.
Wow.
Whether here in the U.S. or in Canada,
right.
They acknowledge anybody that puts their life in danger in order to safely and securely save somebody else in harm's way. Because of Jacob's heroic feat, they recognized him and they were able to really show that, hey, like, we acknowledge that you put yourself in danger and were able successfully to save somebody.
Right.
We want you to know that, well, everybody, not just the victim, not just the people that saw you, but a lot of us really respect you that. Why I want to bring this story up is because in South Florida, and not just in South Florida, in this country, all in general, there's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be things out there that we don't agree with, actions out there that people perform that we don't agree with,
right.
That's negative, that goes against positivity and good morals and
right.
the good way that we see others that should go on and live. The fact that Jacob, this individual who by all means had the opportunity, had all the right to just focus on themselves, didn't have to disregard anybody's actions or anything like that, but he was selfless enough to really notice somebody was in
right.
danger and just sprung into action. I'm not saying anybody that didn't do it is at fault. By all means, everyone has the right and the choice to do whatever they want.
That's correct.
But it shows that there's still good people out there in this world. And it doesn't take somebody recording you or somebody enticing you.
There you go.
Or being afraid of your image being tarnished for you to do the right thing.
Right.
Like it's frustrating that a lot of us these days, whenever somebody does something positive, we automatically think, what are they trying to get out of it? Or is there a camera out there? Or am I being punked? Because unfortunately, a lot of the good that you see out there is fabricated, either for attention, for clout, or for whatever it might be. You don't see a lot of honest to goodness, good actions anymore. And if you do, it's not acknowledged. Either the news doesn't bring it up because it doesn't sell, or people don't bring it up because it's not interesting. But there's good out there. Sometimes we're blind to it. Sometimes we're so focused on other things in life that we don't see it. And there's certain actions that we can take as individuals that can promote said positivity, that can promote said good actions, that we're too blind or we're too focused in other avenues to pay attention to.
I have a quick question to ask you.
Yeah.
This young man, like you said, did a selfless act. But I haven't heard anything on the news. I haven't seen it on TV. Haven't heard about it on the radio. Let me ask you a question. Now, if this same young man happened to just walk by and stood there and looked at her as she drowned, do you think he would have got coverage on news then? Someone would have filmed him saying, look at this fucking guy watching this woman drown and did nothing.
It probably got way more attention and probably would have been put on the news for weeks and weeks and weeks. Because negativity sells, unfortunately.
You're right.
Negativity, violence sells in America and probably other countries too, but predominantly here. The news doesn't put positivity on a lot because people don't want to watch it. It's not attention grabbing. That's why almost everything you see on the news is negative.
Yep.
Or it just a skew of informative, and then they'll just sprinkle a little bit of positivity in there to make them seem like they're not just talking all negative all the time. And mostly, the whatever positive story that they do put on is A, really, really generic, probably like 30 seconds to a minute long, or B, it's the same story being run all week. Like me just looking up today any positive news that happened this week, and on our Channel 5 News, there were only 3 good things that they posted on for the month that was positive.
Right.
And then the whole page on, it was just kept going back. At least maybe one good story a month all the way back to like 2022, 2021. I'm only not even multiple pages. I'm only going to page 3 and then we're already back in 2020. Like it's new, positivity doesn't sell. And that's what makes people think on the news that life is always bad.
Right.
It's not bad. It's the way that we make it. It's the way that we see it, we view, and the way that we interpret it. Life is the way that we make it. Just like what Jacob did. He took the initiative and didn't think like, oh, that's just life. He took the initiative, went in there and saved this person, did a selfless act. We don't need to save somebody from harm's way or in a horrible situation in order to show positivity.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
You can go donate, go help at a shelter, either stay somewhere and really listen to somebody in harm's way, or volunteer somewhere. There's other options that we can do as individuals, as a community, as a state, as just a whole society. There's other things that we can do to promote positivity.
Right.
Not just something huge, something grand. Like, we got to be able to show people that life is the way that we make it, and life is not always fucked up.
So, to make it quick and short, easy, would you advise people to go out and volunteer, whether in a soup kitchen, whether feeding the homeless, whether whatever it is that they can do, get out and do it? I mean, would you say that's something that you would be for?
I mean, the honest answer you want to say is, yeah, you want people to go out and volunteer. You want people to go out and help and do what they can to help their neighbor. But there's going to be people out there that don't have the ability to do so, don't have the time, don't have the finance and stuff. That's fine. You don't have to go somewhere to volunteer and show positively and do good. Like, you don't have to go to a soup kitchen. You don't have to go to a homeless shelter just to show that, hey, I'm a good person.
Right.
You know? Like, you could still do good by, I don't know, going to a restaurant and see somebody struggling, give them a tip. Or you're on the street and you see somebody struggling, either like a family. This is what my mom used to do up in Boston, but she would always see somebody on the street somewhere, like walking or having groceries or something like that, and she would pull over and she was like, hey, do you need a ride? This was before Uber and all that stuff. And she would ask people, do they need a ride? And she would give people rides to and from. And it would be like random people. Like, I didn't know and she didn't know, but she would see somebody struggling and she would go out there and help. Like, you can do selfless acts like that. Like the homeless people, the thousands upon thousands of homeless people we see out every day.
Indeed.
I remember somebody in the hospital telling me that one thing that we all can do is just make little mini care packages to be able to give them, like, real quick. Like, what they told me is don't give homeless people money, because there's a number of them that will use that money for nefarious reasons. Not every single homeless person out there is homeless because of choices outside of their control.
Right.
There are people that are out there because they put themselves in that situation. But you can still help everyone out there. A care package of socks, bottled water, some snacks, food,
Right.
necessities. That helps.
I got one for you. How about that little lady who's trying to load her groceries in the store, and you're pulling out your car and you see her and you just keep it going? How about you stop? Say, hey, can I help you load your car? That mother that has 2 kids, 3 kids, and she's trying to do the same thing, trying to get these groceries out of her car and trying to load her car. How about simply offering to help them? I mean, it's so many different ways that help can be reached.
Yep.
So what we're trying to say is this gentleman did something that most of us, 1, would be too damn scared, 2, too ignorant, 3, don't give a fuck. You would see someone drowning, like, the first thing most people would do is break out their damn camera. Oh, look, she's drowning. Let's see what happens. I'm going to post it on Instagram. I'm going to post it on Facebook. We have a tendency, we've fallen so far behind, became so desensitized to life, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. We need to stop and think and take a moment to treasure and to try to pass on that goodness to someone else. I thank you, Marcus, because, honestly, truthfully, bro, we've been doing the same thing. We've been completely, studying on nothing but the negativity that's going on in the world. Every damn episode practically has been violence, shooting, murder, killing, everything negative. We've been following just like everybody else because we felt, everyone's going to listen to this. But today you found something, bro, that people need to hear, because we don't hear enough of it, whether it's on the news, on the radio, on the internet, hell, on TikTok. How often you see people, I've seen people pulling out guns, blah, 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 shooting. People road rage, this, that. Everything is negative because they get all the fucking numbers because they just show us negativity. Let's see how many numbers we get because we just posted this heartfelt thing today. Marcus, thank you again. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, which is our main podcast. Come and find us. Subscribe, follow, like, and see us again next time. Thank you again for coming in and hanging out with us today.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, everybody, for joining us on COC STV. Children of Change, Stop the Violence.
Yes, sir.